I'm walking in, people think I'm part of the audience, and then they see me go up and grab the microphone, and they're like, "Oh, you're the presenter. Hi." They start talking to us, and they're even talking to us as I'm going in, because I was talking to people before they went in. I was talking to people during it, and if I was sitting in a chair when I did this, I would have fell out of my chair. 20 people were in that room.
Wow.
And I'm like,
wow, that's a lot.
this is 10:30 at night. So it's like, I had grown men crying. I had women coming to realize, that they have been doing the wrong things. And I had men and women talking to each other again. I had people connecting with each other. And I had people coming out after the workshop talking to us. And it's just, this month's topic is passion for our challenge and movement makers. It's like, I'm passionate about this. Like, I never realized just how much this means to me to want to help these people who are single, because our audience is geeks. So the definition for us of geek is anybody who geeks out over anything. Like, if you geek out over coffee, like you want to try new flavors of coffee and you're like, oh my God, a new flavor comes in. That's geeking out. Or you geek out over books, like, Jess, new book by your favorite author comes in. I got to read it. Or you collect Funko Pops. Or even if you're a tech geek and you're like, okay, I love working with like all these different parts of these graphics. There's a geek in all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's...
For sure. Each one has its own.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. If you can talk about it for at least an hour, you're a geek.
That's a nice definition. I geek with passion.
Exactly. And I remember back in high school and back in the 90s, in early 2000s, when I was going to high school here in America, it's like geek, the word geek was frowned upon because they used that as like band geek or this, and it was like a derogatory term for kids in school where, oh, you're part of the geek crowd. We don't want to do anything with you. But now it's like geek is everywhere, and it's becoming a big thing. So it's like we're helping the geeks, but we're also helping the gamers, those who are gaming on their phones, because phones are games, people, as well as console games. And
you're basically you're hoping whatever geek they're at, whether they're gamers or pop culture. So you're hoping them what, like to go on a date? What are you trying to help them with?
Basically, we're helping them first discover love within themselves. Because in order for you to attract your dream partner, you first have to find the love within yourself, because you've been let down so many times. You've been hurt so many times that you let people's words get in your mindset and has poisoned your mindset. And so we're helping to clear your mindset. But we're also helping you rediscover the love within yourself, the love for yourself, and a love for life. Because without those factors, you're never going to attract the person of your dreams. It took me 4 years after being let down on Thanksgiving by my then wife, and I've come to become best friends with her, so I no longer have any hatred towards her. I love her as a friend. She helped me actually attract this one. It took me 4 years of trying to discover myself. Who was I? What was I? What was my mission? What was my purpose? And all the questions we ask ourselves on a day-to-day basis is like what's the meaning of our life? Why am I here? What should I be doing with my time? What am I doing wrong? And I found Jessica. And this coming January, speaking of 4 years, and number 4, we're about to be 4 years together and coming up in this January 2023. So
wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So our whole basis starts around confidence. You've got to begin to build confidence in yourself, and then also begin to have that confidence out in the real world.
There we go.
And to be able to have that confidence, you have to explore everything about you. Your history, what happened in the past, what came out good, what not so good, and just begin to explore and be able to build yourself up. And then you take the then to move forward.
I'll ask a question about that moving forward. First, Jessica and Brian, it's really a pleasure, to meet you here on live.
Yes.
So I really appreciate your time for that, and really it's lovely. I have a question regarding what you just now mentioned. You said moving forward, and as we all know in dating, and you also mentioned that, Brian, it could be pretty hard, pretty tough. You get some scars over there. How do you get that passion? How do you give that drive to move forward? Because it's really nice to say, okay, let's believe in ourselves, connect to ourselves. But if we're also talking today about passion, from where do you get that? Because we all got scars from that or lessons. So would love to hear, your point of view on that.
My story would be the biggest impact for that because 4 years, I was beating myself up. Like my story is similar to my first mentor, Brendan Burchard, where his identity was tied to his high school lover. My identity was tied to my wife. So when she's standing up on Thanksgiving, because here in America, for those that are watching overseas, here in America, Thanksgiving's a day to talk about what your gratitudes are and be grateful. And I'm proposing a toast on that day, and she interrupts me and she says, I have an announcement to make. And I'm like, okay, go ahead, the floor is yours. And she ended our relationship. Who I was shattered. So it took me 4 years to find that. And during those times of talking to people and stuff, I realized one of the biggest things to prevent those scars from happening is you have to, first of all, see those people that you're dating as learning lessons. Everybody that comes along, let's take an example and just throw a random girl's name. Okay, maybe there's a Jennifer, and I dated her for a month, and then we ended it. And she said something bad towards me that hurt me. And rather than letting it hurt me, look at it and like, okay, so what did I like about Jennifer? What did I like about Jennifer? What did I like? What was I doing wrong? And then make a notebook and make notes on yourself. Literally, you're literally just sitting there writing out notes. And then you figure out, too, what is it you really want to do with your dream partner to get there? And so you just keep doing those things. You have to find your passion. To answer your question, to find your passion, first of all, you have to figure out, because we did a video on this earlier last week, I think it was. It hasn't been posted yet, but we were talking about what are you already doing? Like, what are you geeking out about right now? Just keep doing that stuff. But also, travel. If you want to travel, you're going to have to travel to meet your dream partner anyway. Start traveling by yourself and act as if your partner is already there. That's what I did for 4 years. I'm literally sitting there, and people might think I was crazy, but I'm sitting there talking to myself like I'm talking to her as if she's already there, saying, oh, this is a nice place. I like this place. This is a very beautiful city. I wish, we could come here more often. And I'm just sitting there, rediscovering myself, because deep down inside of us, all of us have an inner child. We all do. And God, we all kick and scream and whine about things that get thrown our way because we really haven't really realized we need to connect with that inner child. So in a sense, you're dating your inner child. You're dating your higher self. So if you picture yourself at a table, and there's an older version of yourself, much older, your higher self. That's the person who's already succeeded, has the dream partner, has the dream career. They're sitting on the other side of the table from you. And then right next to you over here, you're both babysitting your child self, because you're making sure all three parties are connected, because it's like a trifecta. You got you, your higher self here, you got your child self over here, and you got you right here in this current moment. Embrace the moment. Don't let what somebody said to you hurt you. Don't let somebody who broke up with you stop you from going forward. That's how you keep the passion going. You have to realize, and this is the biggest lesson here that I taught at the workshop that had the men crying. I'm like, you go home at night and you look next to you in bed. There's nobody, right? You got nobody there next to you. You wake up the next day and there's nobody there next to you. You come home from work and there's nobody there to share how your day was, unless you got friends, but that gets old. Sharing with your guy friends over beer and stuff, that gets old quick. You got a new show coming out and you're sitting there binge watching and you got nobody to talk to it about.
Right.
Aren't you tired of living that way? If you are, that every day you go on going forward, you have to think, what am I learning from this person about myself? What do I need to change? What do I need to add? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? And then you start changing those things to go forward, because eventually deep down inside you want that partner. You want that partner next to you.
Now, I do want to emphasize, when he's saying, what am I doing wrong, is not necessarily anything about you. It's maybe where you're going to try to find somebody. So it may be changing a couple of habits. Dating, but you're still learning how to be true to yourself.
Even your dating profiles. What pictures are wrong on there? What did you post? Or maybe you're reading the wrong books, because one of the things that I realized, I could have attracted Jessica sooner in my life if I wasn't doing this one key thing wrong. I was reading all those dating books, and they were talking to men about how to be the alpha male and how you need to act and how you need to take charge of your date. Now you need to go into the bars and clubs and approach a woman and grab her by the shoulder or whatever. And it's like I was trying all those approaches and I was getting, pushed around and said derogatory things to, and everything. I went through all those struggles. I was listening to the wrong people's advice. What I should have been listening to is my own advice. What did I truly want? Like in the end, what did I truly want? And that's when I made my list.
Yeah.
I made a list.
I think you also learn how to create that list. You also learn what you truly want. And as you move, like you both just now said, every time we go out, well, whether that's the right one, and that's amazing, perfect, mazel tov, or you learn and you create that list. And I think we should have some flexibility in that list. But I think what's really beautiful is that you're talking about, first, number one, like in order to create that passion, I would think maybe we'll talk about someone else, how I create it. But you say, no, first connect to ourselves. Connect to ourselves. That's number one, and bring back that passion. And then number two, you're saying that doesn't matter what happens in the date, correct me if I'm wrong, make it first, as an enjoyable experience, but a learning experience to improve. So basically what you're saying, that you're not independent, you're not depending your joyfulness of the experience on someone else, because you're learning, doesn't matter what happened. And you're also learning about yourself. And then, you're taking yourself to the next level until you make that right one. So I think that's really beautiful. That way, you don't tie yourself to someone else. You're all dependent on what you do and how you connect to yourself and how you create that right list. I love that.
Jessica, we are both two interdependent people. There's a difference between independent, dependent, and interdependence. And that's one thing that I want to emphasize too. I just got an idea for one of our videos we can do. I'm going to note on that. But independence is you don't need the other person whatsoever. You can just live your lives separately from each other while being together. And that somewhat works, but for some people, but it doesn't work for the majority of people. Then there's the backfall of dependence. You need that person around for almost every activity. You need them around constantly. And if they go away for a work meeting for like 2 weeks or something, you're sitting there and everything you've done is collapsing in front of you. But then there's interdependence, where I need Jessica for some things like meal planning, financial things, or financial decisions, talking about that, or help with my kiddo. But when it comes to other things, like when it comes to gaming, or if I want to go out and go to the movies or something, I don't necessarily need her. I don't necessarily need her. Do I want her? Yes, but I don't necessarily need her. Like, I don't need her around constantly to be able to know who I am. I know who I am. She knows who she is. And neither one of us has to affect each other in any way whatsoever. But it's kind of an influential thing. We influence each other in a sense. And that's more of a positive, healthy relationship. You don't want somebody constantly telling you who you are. You need somebody who boosts up your confidence when you're down. Like I admit, I'm not always the positive, cheerful guy. I've had negative days. Like, I've had negative experiences recently, and here's Jessica, and she's like, what's wrong? And she tells me some good positive stuff, and I'm like, no, I like that. I'm going to go do that. And then 2
I'll
days
smack
later,
him upside the head and say, look, you're thinking too hard here. But I'm sorry, I have to drop. It's still going to be here for you guys.
You're saying it's kind of, you need to create some type of a mix between your, dependent time by yourself, and then between the things that you could also do together.
Yeah. And another thing too that we're all neglecting, and this is really, really important to know, that I teach everybody, I was teaching them at the group, is you're neglecting yourself, because we all need a relationship with our spiritual self. We all need a relationship, whether you believe in God, whether you call it the universe, whether you call it God, Goddess, if you're a Native American, whatever you call it, it doesn't matter what you call the spiritual source. We all believe in something. Now, if you're a non-believer, if you're an atheist or something, then, perhaps just thinking about your inner child self, think about that. But I believe, from my own personal standpoint, that we all have a spiritual side. And they're there, and that's the higher self I was talking about. They are there to guide us. My mentor, Gabby Bernstein, calls it our inner guide. We have inner guides. We have guardian angels. We have spirits. We have, ancestors that are there watching over us. And they're there to help us when we need advice. So, like, for some people, they pray and they go and they wait for God to answer, and then they get answers in signs. They get answers in their heart. They have a little voice talking to them, telling them this is the right move to make. And that, to me, I'm a living testament of that, because I wouldn't have met Jessica if I wouldn't have taken the first steps outside of my comfort zone, because I was still living at home, still living with my ex, and a friend had invited me to an event in California by my mentor, Brendan Burchard. And I didn't want to go at first because I was depressed and I was thinking about ending my life. My identity was still shattered from that event that happened a year later after it already happened. And she says to me, trust me, it's going to change your life. Just go think on it. So I go into meditation and I'm sitting there and I hear this voice talking to me. And I kid you not, I hear this voice talking to me inside my heart saying, go. You're going to meet her. You need to go. She's there. So I go out to California. I'm on day one. I'm still thinking about ending my life, and I was going to end it in California. And it's like, hey, no one will ever discover me out here. And I won't go home. They won't know, what happens. And I'm out there. And then that's when Brendan goes on the stage and starts talking about his first love, his high school sweetheart that he had his identity tied to, and talked about how he had that accident and how it changed his life. And I'm just like, wait a second. That was me. And then I hear that voice again saying, now you know why you're here.
Wow.
Go find her. So I go out and I start talking to all these women. Like, I'm really hearing this voice tell me to go talk to people. I'm like talking to all these women that are single, just talking, getting to know them, asking them questions about their dating life and just asking them questions in general. And this girl comes up to me and she's like, I like you. Well, you just met me. No, I heard you talking to people. I like you. Would you go out with me today?
Wow.
Me and my friend would like to invite you. We're renting a yacht and we're going to go out there. And I'm like, whoa, rich people world. I'm not even part of that world yet. I want to be part of that world. Yeah, I'll go. Came time to go on that date, and they had already skipped the event and they'd already left. But rather than letting it set me back, I'm sitting there like, you know what? Well, you know what? I'm going to go on a boat. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to go to that little island over there, because it was in San Diego. I'm like, I'm going to go to that little island over there that all the rich people are living on, all the wealthier people are living on, and I'm going to go mingle. And I'm just going to go talk, and I'm going to be part of that world because I've judged it for so long that I need to learn, and I need to relearn myself. And I'm going and I'm talking to people on that island, and I'm seeing how people are living their lives, and I've got people coming up to me and talking to me, and it's like, by the end of that event, when I was out there, I did not meet her, but I met myself. I met myself. Wow. And that was the purpose of that. Fast forward a year later, and I'm invited to go to California again, but this time for a business event. And I'm like, I was on the fence. I was going through multiple coaches trying to tell me how to do business and things, and what I should and shouldn't do. But I'd always had it on my heart to be a dating coach, because when I was living in Cleveland, Ohio, a lot of the guys that I made friends with through the movie that I was in and through other means to work and everything were always coming to me, asking me to be their wingman and asking me to be their advice person. And so I'm like, I want to be a dating coach. I've always wanted to be a dating coach, but I don't know how. So I'm going to go to this event. And I'm getting ready to go to this event. And then that's when I hear that voice again saying, you're going to meet someone. You're going to meet her. No more details will be given until you get there. I met a girl named Jessica when I got there. And she comes up to me and during our breakout session, and she says, I know what you're looking for. See me after this. Meet me outside. Wow. I want to talk. We go out there, and I go up to her, and she's like, you're seeking her. She's not here. But I know what you're looking for.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, what am I looking for? You're looking for your twin flame, your ultimate lover, your dream partner. Am I correct? And you've been seeking this for a long time. And I just start crying. I'm like, yeah. How the hell did you know? She's like, call it God, call it spirit. Something told me in my heart. A voice told me that's what you're seeking. She's just right around the corner. And I'm like, down the street down there? Am I going to meet her down there? No. You go find out and come back to me at the end of this event. Came back to her at the end of the event, and she's like, so what did you discover? I had fun. Did you go on any dates? Yeah, I dated myself. I went to all the places I've always wanted to go to with her. And she's like, exactly. And now you're going to meet her. but she's not me.
Wow.
She's right around the corner. So when you go home, something's going to happen. I just want you to know that. When I got home, at that point, I got home and I just prayed and went into meditation and just asked for guidance. And I was instructed to pick up this little journal. So I did. And I picked up this journal and I had to write in it everything that I ever wanted, my list. And then I looked at everything and I'm like, I did all of this stuff over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Wow. And right in January of that next year, Jessica's profile popped up. And
Wow, that's crazy.
I didn't want to write her. And my ex is sitting there. She's my best friend at that point because I forgave her, because that's a key is forgiving the past. I look at her and she looks at me and she's like, why are you not writing her? She looks amazing. You're staring at her profile. I'm like, I don't know. There's something about her. What don't you like? She's wearing glasses. It reminds me too much of my mom that left me years ago. And in the case now, I'm wearing glasses. You know, funny story. She tells me, she's like, you got 7 days, mister. If you do not write her within 7 days, I'm going to keep bugging you, and I'm going to write her.
Nice.
You're going to write her? How? I don't know. I'll find a way. I'll keep bugging.
Crazy.
So it's like 2 days later, she pops up again. She's like, did you write her? All right, fine. I'll write her. Type, send a message. Within that same day, Jessica responded back and we started talking. We realized how much we had in common, but it was not until that very first date when she walks up from her car to the sidewalk when I'm coming out the front door because she says she's here. My jaw drops when she says my name. My jaw dropped. It was like shining, like this light was just there in my head, light bulb. And I'm like, I have no words.
Wow.
Hi. We go into the date. We sit down at the date. We're talking. And I'm just really got this joyful look in my face. She goes away to the ladies' room, and the waitress comes over, and she's like, mind if I sit? Oh, this is weird. A waitress asking if she can sit down at my table. Yeah, go ahead. I'm on my break, but I just wanted to ask you. I saw how you guys are on a date, right? And I'm like, yeah, I told you that when we first came in. She's like, yeah. Well, no, I see the way you're looking at her. I see the way she's looking at you. Is she the one?
And that's a waitress asking?
Yeah,
oh my God.
Waitress. And I'm like, is she the one? She's like, yeah, you know how they describe it in the movies, that feely thing that you get when it's like the instant connection, you know.
Wow.
You just know.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I already texted my best friend, who was my ex, and told her that, yes, she's the one. I knew from that first day. And she's like,
wow.
Good. She's like, I'm glad because my boyfriend and I are in the same boat. When we met on that first date, I just knew. Something told me this was it. And here I am 4 years later almost. And look at us. I mean, we're on fire. It's like I've been on fire since that event, since that workshop. I love helping people. And one of the reasons why I want to help people find the dream partner is if we look at the last 6 years, I'm throwing out 6 years because 2 years of COVID, and then here in America we had the last president, which really shook up our country. And I'm not trying to get into political discussions with anybody. I'm just saying from a lot of people that I've talked to, the last 6 years have been complete darkness and complete hell, especially in the world with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And the way that, for me to dispel this hatred and to dispel this anger is right here. Love. Love.
Nice.
When we learn that we're all connected, we're all brothers and sisters on the same journey, we learn that, then from that point, we can finally learn that everyone is a reflection of ourselves. So if somebody talks to us, and this goes for the dates, guys, somebody talks to us and says something about ourselves, maybe deep down inside we believe that, even if it's not true. What they said, maybe we believe that we're a bad person, or maybe we believe that we suck at this, or we're this or that, you know, or we can't make money, or we can't build our dream career, or maybe we're deadbeats, or things like that. And we believe those words deep down inside, even if it's not true. And the key is figuring out what those negative things are and changing those into positive things, changing the mindset.
Wow. Wow, Brian, you went through a lot, and I really connect to your advice, you know, when you're talking about all of the trip, I'll say trip, like the whole journey had to do with you first connecting to yourself. And that's what I really love over here, because many times we look for the answers outside. And only after you connected to yourself, only after that, you know, you met Jessica and, you know, Off the Light, and I see your passion right now. But I think your message is so beautiful, and I really appreciate, you know, the fact that you're helping other people try to avoid that pain, and if they already went through it, so to walk them through it to find, you know, that person. So I really appreciate that, you know, you help them light that passion back in their life, because many people in the dating life, they had enough. You know, I also dated a huge number of girls, and so I know how it is, and I think having someone like you that helps people, you know, find that passion, because at the end of the day, 99% of us should be and want to be with a partner, whoever that is. So the fact that you're there, you know, to be there for them and help them walk through it and find the right one, I think that's beautiful, and I really appreciate you for that.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
That's one of the reasons.
Thank you.
One of the reasons why we call ourselves the Dating Warriors. We're basically trying to take all of you out there who are single and turn you into real warriors, because you walk into that battlefield every day. You wake up the next day, it's a battlefield because of all the scars you're going to get, all the wars you're going to fight within yourself. Because to slay the dragons are actually right here inside of us all along. We are our own critics, our own worst enemies. And once we learn that we should be more kind and more loving to ourselves, the world changes.
That is so true. That's so true. And you know, if from this whole conversation, that's what people take, that could, you know, create a huge shift in their life. So, and it's not a one-time thing. You know, it's every day reminding yourself, caring for yourself, being there for yourself. I think that's really important. So I really appreciate your time, Brian. Thank you very, very much. You know, the message that you just, you know, like you brought it live into the conversation. You know, I was really able to feel that. So I really appreciate that, and thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, no problem, man. I appreciate you just reaching out and wanting to do this, because this is amazing. It's just, I love talking to people about just everything I'm passionate about, and that's what gets us fired up. And that's what should get everybody fired up every day. For
sure. Well, keep on with that great passion. You know, like I said, I'm with thousands of miles away, but I could totally feel from here. So I love it. Keep on that with that, and hopefully we'll be in touch pretty soon.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Okay, have a great day.
Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. I'll see you.
All right. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed the video and you got some tools to overcome your challenges and light your path. For us to help other people, please press that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget that the most amazing things in life are the one you take for granted.